From the studios of TLC Talk Radio, it's DT on Our Minds. I'm your girl, Tasha.
And I'm Sniffles McGee.
I have a new co-host, apparently. But you look just like Dana.
Yeah, I am that fat girl, Dana, with the sniffles. So if it happens...
We're sorry.
That's what's happening.
Don't forget to check us out on our social media pages, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and, of course, Instagram. Catch us daily on tlctalkradio.com. 24/7 edutainment. Hey, friend.
Hey, friend.
I feel like I just saw you.
You kind of did.
I did. Today's a rough morning for us because, one, we don't normally tape in the morning.
No.
And two, Dana was so gracious to come be our videographer, director, lighting person for an episode of Tasha Talks, also on tlctalkradio.com. And the show was about friendships.
Yes.
And I saw you listening intently.
Oh, yes.
What were some of your thoughts?
Well, I don't have a group of female friends.
Okay.
I just never have.
And that's not a bad thing, ladies and
No,
gentlemen.
it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But seeing you all together kind of made me a little jealous.
Oh.
I mean, I have really good relationships with the friends I do have.
Sure.
But they're not necessarily friends with each other.
Understood.
So
Understood.
When you were talking about compartmentalizing your life, and that's kind of how mine is like my certain friends get this information, my other friends get this. My friend Mike and of course my boyfriend Bala, we actually talk about everything. You know, I can talk to both of them about anything because I've known them forever.
Yeah.
But they're, you know, like my work friends are, you know, I don't tell them everything.
Nor should you.
Oh, exactly. And I don't know, you and I have gotten a lot closer.
Absolutely. We've spent more time together outside of work. Like,
right.
You knew me as this the lady I work with and she's nuts.
Right.
Now you're like, oh, she's just nuts generally.
Yeah.
It's not even.
Which is not a problem. I am not a nut.
Yep.
I have quite a few issues. Yeah. So that was seeing that kind of friendship up close was really cool.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So the show was about authentic friendships, and it was actually a retake.
Right.
Because something happened to our footage before, and that was shot in February. And between the six of us, we could not get a date together that worked. It was somebody had to work, or Yolanda had to preach, or Marcy had to present, or Maria had something to do for the county. And it was like... You know, so we couldn't get it together. So literally, I think in July, we came up with the November date because everybody's going through their calendar like, nope, can't do that. Nope, can't do that. Nope.
November.
and we literally, because we're skipping, I was like, we can never do it in September. That's my month.
Right.
But, you know,
actually, it could have been a good thing to do it in September.
But see, I had already planned my birthday items back in January. So, you know me, I'm type A.
Yeah, a little bit.
a lot.
Type A.
A lot bit. And so when we came up with November, what was funny was that, you know, that was in July, came back to school, and then I was doing my lesson plans ahead back in October, and I said, let me finish up November's plans. Let me see when report card pickup day is. And I flipped the school calendar, and I'm like, bad word! You know? So I'm on the phone. I'm like, we are not changing this date. I said, somebody's got to go to my house and let, it was going to be another videographer, Cortez. Right. Somebody's got to let Cortez in because I can't, I ain't coming to work today on report card day because I'm the teacher.
Right.
And so I couldn't, do anything other than help.
Well, it's not like your parents came.
Yeah.
Just gonna throw that out there.
I was gonna slide on by that. God bless you. We'll call you. I hope y'all come get these cards. Moving on. I
find it interesting that they actually still pass out report cards.
What do you mean?
When Nefera got to high school, like you could look at everything online,
and with
like
us
all the time.
we can do that as well. But I'm saying it wrong, because when I was in school, there was report card pickup, but it's really parent teacher conference, and so that's
okay.
the opportunity for them.
Right.
Yes, we give them the grades, but that's the opportunity for them
Right.
to come and speak to us about any concerns or anything they'd like to see or whatever.
I was like one of the 20 parents who would do that.
Yeah, so
So
that's universal, and I get it. I'm no shade to the parents. Like, you might have had to work. Whatever. As long as we stay in communication about your child, it's okay. And that might be the reason that some of them didn't come, because they can go and look. I'm not sure. Nobody said anything to me.
I always wanted to talk to all of Nefera's teachers.
Sure.
Because I want to know like
What's happening?
where she was at. Mm-hmm. And they all loved her, and they were all, she's so lazy. But I love her, and she's a great kid, and she's blah, blah, blah. But she really needs to do some homework.
Yeah, that's probably important.
She passes all of her tests, but she don't do no homework.
Yep, those students are everywhere.
Yeah. And I think there needs to, here's a topic. Changing the education system.
Oh boy.
Well,
I'm gonna let you do all the talking, as I am biased.
so
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I just think that there are some students who, like my daughter, did not benefit from repetition. Mm-hmm. She is one of the people who, and she's not the only one,
Sure.
who either needs to have something develop into something else every grade, instead of going back and rehashing everything that she's already learned since like 6th grade. And that was one of her main problems.
Okay.
She's like, I already learned this. What could
certainly
expand it?
Certainly children get bored, and you have to build upon the lesson.
Exactly.
It's a delicate dance, differentiating instruction, and a lot of times when people talk about differentiation, they are looking at the students who are struggling.
Right. They don't look at
but
the
you forget
people
about there's a group of students who we're going to lose because they don't care anymore.
Exactly.
So
and that's combined with Nefera's depression, that is what ultimately had her stop going to school.
Yeah.
So I think, and I talked to her about it. I'm like, what would have helped you to stay in school and finish? And she's like, learning different things.
Sure.
And that's what she did when she was in the engineering program, because she didn't learn any of engineering from, kindergarten up till high school.
Yeah.
So when she got in the engineering program, that was great. But they didn't do the senior year one. So
Why?
because only 3 people wanted to be in it.
Understood.
But not really.
I understand. I understood why they backed away. I agree with you that it shouldn't have had to come to that.
It shouldn't matter if it's not college. So it shouldn't matter if there's, 50 students or 3 students. If that is the path that they are on,
Sure.
you
Finish
should
it out.
continue that path.
Finish it out, absolutely. But I'm sure that was a fiscal decision.
Oh, I know it was.
And unfortunately, that seems to trump a lot of things in life, not just education.
Well, and another thing is that schools tend to, our district, the 2 districts that I deal with, the one that I work in and one that my daughter went to, kind of got rid of everything that wasn't tech. And not everybody's tech. If they would have had automotive in Nefera's high school, she would have taken that because she's a mechanic now.
Yes.
And she would have been certified in high school. And she would have enjoyed that.
Sure.
She would have actually gone because she would be learning different things all the time. So I think that when we're like, oh, well, all these tech jobs are here and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but people still need their cars fixed.
Sure.
People still need to eat, so we need to teach people how to cook properly and not give people diseases, or not diseases, but illness because of bacteria and whatnot. And we just kind of we're like, well, everybody's got to have a tech career. Not everyone fits in tech.
You know, it was the same kind of thing when we were younger, and it was everybody needs to go to college. Everybody needs to go to college.
Right.
Well, now you're forcing this square peg into a circular hole. Everybody's not cut out for that.
Right.
And while college was great for me, and I enjoyed it, I wish I had become a plumber or an electrician, because I ain't got no money, y'all.
Right. Exactly.
And I'm like, for real? You know,
I mean,
so
I think there needs to be more avenues for students, not just, well, you know, Obama said we got to have tech jobs. No, you got to have all jobs.
Sure.
Because there's no one to work these jobs now.
yeah, absolutely.
Because no one's trained. Mm-hmm. And then you might get into a trade school that is bogus. And they just take your money and you don't learn anything. Because there are some people who Nefera works with. Now, Nefera did not go to a trade school. She's not certified in anything currently. However, she knows more than people who have gone through trade school. Because they have to do, when she does oil changes, they have to do like an inspection. She knows what every single thing is. Every single thing. And everyone she's trained under her. Now, keep in mind, she hasn't had this job that long.
She's in there training people already.
Yeah. She's not had any training, like, you know, whatever training. Classical training.
Sure.
She just learns things because she wants to know them. And she's like, I can't understand why people are just so lazy about stuff. I mean, it's not that hard to do to this inspection. You just see if things are dripping.
Because that's bad in
where
vehicle.
it's coming from. And, you know, and then tell the service writer, hey, these are the problems with this car. If they want to get it fixed, this is like the level of, you know, urgency. And
I've been through this process.
Right. And she's always getting, well, they also get bonuses if the person comes back and gets the car fixed for whatever she's written up for.
Okay.
So, I mean, which is kind of awesome. I don't think a lot of places do that. But she's always getting extra money because of that, and no one else really in the shop is.
Well, yay for her.
Yeah. So, back to, we really need to be more focused on the skills that our children want to develop. And yeah, not everybody's great at math. It's okay. I was great at math until geometry, and then
why are we dealing with shapes?
No, it's not the shapes.
I'm kidding.
It's all the words, because I had undiagnosed dyslexia when I was in high school. And word problems, no. Theorems, no. They just didn't make sense in my head because it wasn't just cut and dry like regular math is.
Sure.
So it didn't make any sense to me. So that's when I stopped doing math. Geometry, I was like, nope.
That's funny. Yes, it's so complex. It's so complex.
Exactly. I mean, algebra made total sense to me. And my friends were like, what? I'm like, it made sense to me.
Yeah, that's what I like. I did not like. There's a meme on Facebook that says, "Dear algebra problems, no, we don't know where your ex is, and we don't know why she left." Really cute.
Yeah, I've seen that one. That's funny. But I always come back to, we should be gearing towards the Star Trek universe.
Okay.
Now, you're not a Trekkie, are you?
I am not.
Not so much. All right. So the Star Trek universe has no actual currency.
Okay.
Because you can replicate everything. So what do you need to buy anything for?
Man, that's dope.
You know what I'm saying? And at a young age, you kind of figure out what path you're going on. Like, are you going to be in the starships or Starfleet? Or are you going to do agriculture? Are you going to do whatever? And then your education is geared towards that.
Sure.
And I kind of feel we need to go there.
I'm with it.
because
not everything is for everybody. And I agree with the the elementary process. Everybody should know some basic things first.
Oh, I agree.
And then we begin that tracking. But
I feel like we're not actually giving the foundation as much anymore.
That's true.
We're just throwing tech at people like, oh, you don't need to know that. You're fine.
You don't have to know how to add.
You got a phone for that. Right. You got a phone for everything.
My babies ask me, unfortunately, to tell them what time it is because we have an analog clock in the classroom and they're not allowed to have their cell phones. And I'm like, really, little baby? And I mean, I tell them, but I'm,
Well, it's like when Nefera was in school, they actually did do analog time. And she did not learn cursive in school. She learned it before she went to school. So she's the only one in her class who knew how to sign her name on a check or anything.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, like you got to learn how to sign your name when you get a mortgage. You got to learn how to sign your name when you get a bank account. Like there are so many things you need to learn how to do for cursive. And we got a whole generation don't know how to do it.
Someone said that we were going to use that as old people as code writing.
Right, we can. Because there's only about 6 people who are not in our generation who know it.
Excuse me. That's hilarious. I think I caught their coughs versus sniffles.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
I'm sorry.
No, you did nothing. Nothing at all. So, yeah.
So, as an educator, how would you set up the perfect education system?
And I'm not just saying this because you said it, but that makes sense to me. Laying out the foundation, understanding what the key is going to be exposure. So kids are not always exposed to different things.
Right.
One of the things I always wrote in my graduating 8th graders autograph books is the world is bigger than whatever local street was nearby. So the world is bigger than 63rd Street. The world is bigger than 47th Street because and you see this a lot, manifested on Facebook when people can't think outside of what they've seen.
Right.
If the children are not exposed to a variety of things, then and nothing wrong with it. I want to be an NBA player. That's a great dream.
Yeah. I'm
with it. I want you to succeed. But what else?
Yeah. I'm going to actually need you to know how to take care of your finances and not get cheated and not have somebody spend all your money. And you need that foundation for NBA player.
Right. Or I'm going to be, a musician. Again, wonderful. You have a great voice, ma'am. But again, it's the same kind of thing. Can you count your money? Right. Can you read? Will you be able to check out these lyric sheets?
Can you read music?
Yeah, certainly. I spoke at a college fair a couple weeks ago, and I asked the students what is it they were interested in. And a lot of them had entrepreneurial dreams. And I thought it was wonderful. And I said, so you're going to take some business classes? And they were like, huh? And I said, you're going to take some business classes because you need to understand business. I said, and so what you find a lot of times when people open businesses, they have the talent for whatever service they're offering or whatever product they're offering, but they don't have the business skills.
Right.
And so then it falters. I said, take something as simple as you walking into, a nail appointment and the tech is late because it didn't occur to her that, hey, if my appointment is at 7, you can't pull up at 7.
Right.
You needed to have been there. But some people just simply don't know that. They haven't been exposed to it.
Right.
And so the exposure is going to be first. What that would look like, I don't know.
Right.
But you expose them to a variety of things and give them the opportunity. A lot of students say, I didn't know I could, X. I didn't know I could.
Right.
Yeah. So, because that's not something they saw.
Right.
Yeah. So it's important to expose them first. And then I like the idea of tracking again, what that would look like logistically.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
I know it would have nothing to do with standardized testing.
We
know that.
We had a conversation, some teacher friends and I, we were just chuckling at the whole absurdity. There's nothing wrong with assessing to see where a student is. I think
Right.
that's important. But what you can't do is say, hey, I want you to differentiate all of this learning, and I want you to make sure that they are exposed to both the grade level you're at, the grade level they're at, and then they're going to take the standardized test at this level that I know they can't read at. Why would you frustrate these babies like that?
Right. Well, we want to see how much better they are the next year. Yeah, no, that's...
And certainly growth should happen. Like, I'm not against that. You
No,
should-
I'm
but
not against
seriously,
it either. But I think from what I saw with NAFERA coming up, standardized testing was like the only thing. It's like, we just need them to get high scores. But they're not learning anything. And I think that's the component of why they never advance in anything if they've already learned it. Like, I learned XYZ in 6th grade.
Sure.
I'm still learning it, quote unquote, in my junior year of high school. That doesn't make any sense.
How does it
junior year of high school? That doesn't make any sense.
How does it expand?
Right, it doesn't.
How? And then
It's just trying to get that test higher scores.
right, and then the application. How can I use this?
Right.
Especially children today, they are very kind of results oriented, even if they don't realize it.
Right.
It's like, all right,
Well, that's because that's what society has been doing with these standardized tests. Is we need you to hit this line, hit this line, hit this line.
right. But then the children go, so now great. Now
Well,
what?
am I doing with this?
You know,
Nothing.
why am I going to go to college when I'm still going to make, X amount of dollars? Why is my
Right.
mother going to spend all of this money for
Exactly.
nothing? Not for nothing, but,
But kind of,
yeah.
because again, depending on your college career path, you might still be learning the same crap that you learned in 6th grade. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a little scary, but yes, you're right.
And you're paying millions almost of dollars to get this education, quote unquote.
Yeah,
What's the point?
agreed. What do you think about eliminating the student loan debt? I mean, I'm for it.
Well, I am too. I mean, I only have like $4,000 left, but I'm thinking about going back to school, so I'm going to have a lot more.
You better get in before they make some decisions.
Right.
I agree with it. I do understand the critics who say, well, you took out this loan knowing, this. However, I think we took out these loans thinking that
We were going to have an economy that would pay us money.
exactly, so that we could pay it back. And now we're in a
Right.
space where my salary may be what my darn student loan is.
Right. So it's like you're never paying it back.
Right, leave me alone.
Right. Or in the case of Bala, who's got his doctorate in literature, his salary is not even close to what he owes in student loans,
Yeah, so it's like,
which is ridiculous.
So at that college fair, I explained to students, I said, you want to take your gen eds at a community college.
Yeah.
And if you want the college experience, check out the school, and there's a junior college nearby. Go
Right.
there first. I
Yeah.
personally think you should just do it at home, but that's just what I think.
Right.
But apparently,
Some
y'all have
people
money
need
to
to
burn.
leave.
Yeah, yeah, depending on the
Yeah.
home situation, certainly, or just what they need for personal growth.
Right.
But if I had known, that's not something that was communicated to me. I thought you just went to school.
Right.
And so my parents didn't go to college, so they were like,
I don't know.
you're going here. This is school you want to go to?
Right.
Okay, great. And you're going to go in there and you're going to excel. And I did.
Right.
But I could have saved them so much money.
Right.
Just doing those gen eds, and of course people say, well, you don't know if they're going to transfer. You don't. But I mean, who's going to not take an English class
Yeah, right. I mean,
or a math class? Like, particularly.
unless you're doing like a 99.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah.
That's a pre-credit
Right.
course. So we're not taking your pre-credit courses. Good luck, ma'am.
Exactly.
Or
And
sir.
Some of those in junior college you can just test out of.
I believe so.
So you don't even have to take the class, so you don't have to spend that money, but you still get the credit for it because you've tested out of it.
Yeah, and I appreciate it.
Yeah. But I think the whole education system is currently flawed.
Sure.
And we need somebody who wants to actually change it and not kind of get it into a weird utopia situation.
What do you mean?
Like, it would be great if everyone could get free college. It would be great if everyone, but realistically, things do need to be paid for. Like,
sure,
people who are teaching these classes need to get paid. The money needs to come from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's we want you to have this great experience,
right,
for a little bit of money. But what about the rest of the people working the process?
Because they probably still have student loans. I'm just saying.
Probably they do. I'm like, man, if I had no moral code, had moral code, I'd handle a lot of things, but that is inappropriate.
Right. If I really, wanted a bad credit score, I would stop paying my student loan. Right?
But I don't want no problems later in life, so, it is what it is.
Right.
Yeah, no, I completely get it. This is the kind of stuff that the friendship group you saw yesterday, this is the kind of stuff we sit and lament about, like, why, Jesus?
But we need to find someone who isn't going to lament anymore and is actually going to take action.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know who that is. I kind of hope it's me a little bit, but I don't really have that kind of time.
We support you.
I don't have that kind of time or clout or money.
Certainly the clout and the dollars are integral.
So I'm just going to take my little piece of the world and become a therapist and help other people.
I'm excited about what you're desiring to do. That's going to